Hey guys, it's Darren Benton with Performance Motorcoaches. We are at our property in southern Michigan, just right north of Elkhart, doing a little video on a brand new available, I'll say it again, brand new available 2025 Classic. This is the 45 CME. This is the very first CME that I have ever built. A few things to we'll talk about inside once we get into it. You kind of see the layout a little bit better, but I think this is going to be a good alternative to the CMR floor plan for people that are wanting to sleep more people and also not have to contend with the large kitchen slide. There's been lots of talk back and forth. You know, we sell a fair amount of units with the kitchen slide, but we'll kind of talk more about that once we get into the actual coach. So this is a 2025. I'll kind of outline some of the differences in 24 versus 25. There's not many differences, but I'll try to outline as many as possible as we go through the coach. This is on the Cascadia 126. So a little bit longer hood Freightliner Cascadia. It does have the 600 horsepower Detroit diesel, so it's 15.6 liter. They call it the DD16, and it is mated to the Detroit 12-speed automated transmission. So they call that the DT12. Kind of my premier combo as far as engine and transmission. Aesthetically, it kind of fills in nicely on a 45-foot coach. It does have the bunk over, which is optional for all the classic floor plans. And as far as paint job, this is just the standard gel coat. So all of the FRP panels will be standard gel coat, cabs are white, and then this is white sheet metal. The reason why we do a lot of white units is I'm pretty darn particular. The paint jobs are good paint jobs. They are not over the top paint jobs. Realistically, for RV paint jobs, you can spend upwards of $100,000 on a paint job. Most of the Renegade paint jobs will come in that $30,000 range, but we see a lot of people like the white, just consistent, less money. If you have to replace a panel, you can replace one panel without having to do any kind of paint work itself. So 23 and beyond is kind of whenever they went to certain aspects like what we call the combined storage compartments, hydraulic slides as well, or just the front hydraulic slides. So combined storage compartment. If you'll notice this guy right here, you see this trim down here, which this is another thing to kind of note. The 25 model trim went to a smooth trim versus the old hangrail type trim. The older hangrail type trim basically allowed for the top swing baggage doors. They've gotten away from that, which I think this looks a lot cleaner, a lot nicer. But if you'll kind of follow this body line down, this compartment right here drops down, goes down a little bit lower as well. And then the idea is this is actually a hydraulic slide right here. So you don't have the Schwintek mechanism. You do lose some opening. In fact, I'll open, you can just kind of stand back and see the difference in the opening themselves. So you lose a little bit of storage compartment, but I was pretty happy to have a hydraulic slide up here and then not have to worry about some of the issues we've seen with the Schwintek kitchen slide just because of the overall weight. So it does have the Aquat 450, but we could have optioned the 600. The biggest advantage going to the 600 would be going from a single electric element to a dual electric element. Most people aren't using these things in extreme temperatures, and realistically the dual electric element doesn't do that much more for you. So I prefer having a little bit more storage around it. We do a lot of power washer in that bay because we can access your cold water in there, and then that will also stay warm in the winter time. So just kind of matter of preference there. This does have the Starlink. That is an option for 25 as well. Single awning is standard. They're always rooftop. They gotten away from any of the side mounted awnings, and then it does have the option for the rear awning. So it's dual Girard. It's a two-stage awning that goes out and downward. We got a pretty crazy windstorm last night. We would have done this in the Elkhart campground, which is just right next to our house. However, they have downed trees everywhere. Lots of chainsaws going up here, so going there. So we decided to come up to our little place in Michigan that maybe someday we'll have a full service center here in time. So this is the 3/4 pass-through right here. Probably one of the most valuable compartments right there that goes underneath the frame rail there. for longer items. We've done some slide trays to go underneath there. Does have the central vac, which on 25 and newer, I think anything LE and up will be central vac standard. We'll generally do a 110 plug within the compartment to be able to charge, anything from, a kid's toy down to drills and such. You can always note the rear portion of a Classic, because it's the same sidewall or the same rear as your sidewall. There's no rear cap on it. And one thing I like to do is I like to paint all of the top rails on all my Classics. Normally it's just an aluminum extrusion, so about like this. That will eliminate any kind of black streaks down the side itself. And then this does have the optional deluxe, they call it the deluxe lighting package that has the 4 vertical lights there. The standard light is included. Just nice if you lost any of your tow lights on your Toad or a smaller trailer, you'd be able to see those much larger lights, or the lights up top that your tow vehicle might be blocking. So standard shore cord there, it's 32-foot shore cord. Anything tandem axle 41 foot and above will come standard with the 12.5 gen and the 3 air conditioners up top. Some side guide lights right there. This is the optional side turn signals and clearance lights. We did the macerator pump on board. All the wet bays from basically Verona and up do have a hydronic register. You can read the temperature of the wet bay on your, basically they went to the Mirror app. I'm sorry, they went to the Eclipse app from the Mirror app from 24 to 25. But the nice thing, you can read this, and then you do see where they had your sea level monitor up in here, just to be able to kind of see what's going on with your tanks without having to pull your app out or go inside. 75-gallon gray, 75-gallon black. We went ahead and optioned it with the 4 lithium batteries. I noticed they went to the little bit larger Victron solar controller to be able to add more solar panels after the fact. This just has, the XLs will have up to 6 panels. You can option up to 5. I need to double check it and see if we did more than 3. The standard was be 3 200-watt panels, but I should have done a little bit more research. Pretty certain that we did more than 3 panels up top. That's the reason why it will get the little bit larger solar controller. It does have the dual Victron inverters. The idea back behind those is just more inverting. Like on a day like today, whenever it's only going to be 80 degrees, you probably realistically cool a coach with 1 air conditioner, not have to run your generator. Makes it really handy to drive it up and down the road. Makes it handy for off-season whenever you don't need to run your generator, or someplace you might not want to bring a lot of attention to yourself whenever your generator is running. So chassis battery here, and basically anything 12-volt related floor down will be all within that compartment. However, some components are still tied in the Firefly. We've not done any kind of blackout package. We do lots of blackout packages. The steps themselves come from Renegade instead of the polished steps here. So we could definitely take and do any kind of blackout beyond that. There again, 23 and newer. They started just recovering the Sears seats. The XLs get a completely different seat, but with the same seat base. But very easy entry in and out of the cab. You'll see the separate monitor. They basically pulled away from the Garmin units that they broadcast into the cameras, so you have the big screen up top there. And then we do lots of separate Garmin. There is a TomTom app within the right screen there. I don't know if you can catch that. Gets those screens up top, so you have your main display and then the one there on the left. There you go, a little bit further on the dash. So you'll have key fobs for your cab and for your entire conversion. So basically your entry door and then all of your compartments are all locked or auto locking. No real difference as far as entry door on the Classics. The LE and the Explorer did get a wider entry. That little panel that was right inside, that basically designed to go in here. Kind of a cool feature they did. Guys at Double L made those units. So I always like to walk in and show how much room you do have inside the unit without closing or without opening the slides. So, you know, you can somewhat relax on the theater seats. I guess you can just put your feet straight out. So relatively comfortable as a passenger. You can get to your refrigerator, you can get to your bath up front. This could be dropped down. So lots of room within the coach. If you'll notice here, they've gone to a few different controllers. So a little bit, you know, I don't know. I guess I really don't have an opinion on this versus the older style. So there's a lot more options than that, but probably going to take a little bit more time to go through the functions and features. I'll take and flop around real quick. So you'll have your main panel. Go ahead and extend. So hydraulic, you can see how fast that slide cruises out right there. And like I said, the slide over here on the other side is hydraulic as well. I've not measured the kitchen CMR to the CME. I would be willing to bet you probably lose the equivalent of like a drawer bank going to the CME from the CMR. The nice thing is it feels a little bit more open. So you don't have this large cabinet right here to be able to look outside. There again, kind of matter of preference. Probably the biggest thing for me, the reason why I really like this particular setup right here is you get this sleeping area all the way forward. The slide's deeper, so it goes further out. You could technically do a CMR, which a CMR is this entire piece as a slide out. It just doesn't go as deep because of the plumbing slide. So then the idea is once the couch folds over, you'll have plenty of walk room around the edge of the couch and even be able to have the ladder there for anybody that might be in the bunk over. Just give you some more openness. Now, you could kind of argue on, well, you've put a TV there, you've taken up what should be a window. There again, it would be an option to do a window. We'd have to do a TV somewhere else, but just wanted to kind of show people that there are some other options out there. We sell a lot of the 2-bath bunkhouses. We sell a few CMRs, and we generally outfit our CMRs either to be fitted for 2 people or a family. What I like about this is it kind of gives somebody another floor plan option that might want to bring their family on periodically, but not have dedicated bunk bed space. So lots of room for entertainment, lots of room for people to be able to kind of sit down and relax as well. So there again, just a matter of preference. This does fold all the way out. It is, I believe it's 60 inches wide, and then I think it's 72 inches long. So if you're incredibly tall, plan on your feet hanging over a little bit. But if you're a guest, I guess guests should just be happy to be there and not be having to pay for a $500,000 motorhome. So it did the large picture windows. There again, preference. You know, we don't have to do anything. This is just kind of how I saw this particular coach. I wanted some storage, but I really like having this large picture window. See here, nice little area. Look out the window. Nothing to really obstruct the view. And then as you come in, I like to be able to see out one window without having to kind of get, poke my head underneath. You'll also notice the all wood valances, no fabric. It makes the decor choices much easier because you're not having to worry about, well, I don't like this fabric or this fabric. Basically, decor, all that encompasses now are pillows and bedding that generally doesn't stay within the coach. So getting back to that classic, I'm very happy that they've gotten away. I wish that they would offer all wood valances on all the products. It's much easier to sell as a customer or to a customer because you don't have all these varied opinions on patterns and fabrics and such. So just kind of a matter of preference. I'm going to say it about 1,000 times. Cape Cod stain throughout. Kind of gives it a grayish tone but tannish tone, so Cape Cod goes really well either way. essentially you can kind of change the Cape Cod one way or the other just by backsplash and upholstery. So it's become kind of my new go-to as far as stains. You'll see a lot of people using the Cape Cod stain as well. It just makes a nice light airy feel. Don't, you know, if you get any kind of scratches, which you know, I don't, if you had, you know, a dirty towel or wiping it down, they're really high gloss, the, you know, the dark stuff, you can see scratches in it. It's not that common, but this would probably be the most kid-friendly, the safest as well. They have removed some of the valance legs on the window, on the kitchen window here. Can't really tell you necessarily why they did that. It is an option as far as your electric plugs. I try to do 2 plugs within any kitchen area. I'll open this to kind of see. We do have some of the drawer sets there at the dealership. We could add shelves to them after the fact. Single basin sink is basically the only thing you can get on any of the classics, and it is an option to be able to recess the cooktop itself. So all Lambrite furniture. It is ultra leather. Nice thing about the ultra leather, it's tough. It doesn't really scratch. You know, dogs, kids, very, very safe. The Lambrite is probably the, you know, I would say it's probably a little more basic than the Villa, but it's comfortable. You know, you sit in there. It's another thing. So these are theater seats, but guess what? Little Timmy wants to sit right down here. He can do it and still be able to have this as theater seats. It's the reason why I like doing this, especially if you have some your seating and your fold-out couch on the other side. Close this up. This area of the coach will be pretty much the same as a CMR. All pull-out pantry. No real difference in trim. Like I said, Starlink is an option for $25, and you'll notice there's no more Victron Touch 5 controller there. They have now since, boom, put it in here, look here. Electric menu. So go servo there, you kind of figure out what the heck, you know, what's going on, how many amps you're pulling, you know, what your solar is doing right now. So good idea. All within this, a little bit easier to read versus having to look at really small, you know, that Victron Touch 5. So I do like the integration in here. There's going to be some glitches with this integration, but I don't think it's going to be anything to be too awfully concerned. But everything else, I don't think there's really anything different in the Firefly from 24 to 25, other than it does have the Eclipse. So the idea back behind the Eclipse is full remote access versus just doing Bluetooth. So these will have the Teton router on them, much easier to be able to access. It's a 4G instead of the 5G, which seems to work a little bit better with the Eclipse. Open up some of these back slides. Having to go through and train myself on these little bit smaller digital screens versus the old school just push button type. That makes it handy to be able to go in 2 places and do it. So back here it does have the optional, they call it the full closet. Just blanked out on their true terminology, but it's been very popular just because you can access so many different things. Now, one thing we've been pushed pretty darn hard for is I kind of felt like this was kind of wasted space right here. So we're gonna be able to do some drawer banks in there. Now, you know, keep in mind that if you have a shirt hanging down, you know, if you have all pressed clothing, you might not want the drawer option there. If you're wearing your smoker's jacket and having it in the closet all the time, you might not want the drawer bank, but I'm pretty excited about having that. More than anything, just to not have to come down here and open this, you know, be able to pull those out. Great place for his and hers socks and underwear, something you might access every single day. So we did not do, normally you would have one of these down here would be where all your AV stuff is. Everything is located there, but we just didn't do the mesh front on the cabinet, because there again, most people are doing streaming instead of doing satellite dishes and Atari and everything else. So I'm a different carpet. I wish I had better news to report on that we weren't doing carpet for 25, but hey, it looks a little bit classier than what we previously had in the past. Kind of redundancy, 275-gallon water tanks below the bed. It would be an option. So this is a 66-inch wide bed. You can do it as a 72, but you can kind of see here. So I get in here to make the bed, and you know, I've got enough room. But imagine basically pulling out a few inches on either side of the bed. If someone has to get in here and wrestle the mattress to be able to make the bed, I think it's probably going to make for a tough camping trip, so I don't recommend going. Some of the XLs have more walk-around room, but most of the classic floor plans simply do not have enough room around the edge of the bed. There is some deviation if you go to a 116 to be able to add a little bit more bedroom room, and then you could do the full 72-inch wide bed, but it is an option, and we can even take after the fact and pull these out and cut these down, be able to do a little bit wider mattress if somebody just had to have that, but just know you're going to take up some room here. So access panel right here. Anytime we do any of the water miser or the shower miser, since the idea behind a shower miser is you turn your water on, instead of it going down the drain, it goes back to your tank until it gets warm, and then you flip another valve and then it will start pumping out of the shower. But in the meantime, it's not just going down your drain, it's recirculating back into the freshwater tank. But lots of accessibility. You can see the two access points right there, so you can get to your drain and get to all your shower components there. A little bit different faucets and hardware, and there again, I mean, some of the stuff really wasn't broken, but just kind of what somebody might want, but just some new updates. The colors really haven't changed into 25. Shower head's the same. Basically everything within the shower is the same on all the classics. I'll take and put this down. My favorite thing to do if it's getting really rough roads. I don't have to worry about that popping out and slam it down on the ground. Kind of do the old toilet check. So a decent amount of room here. We did have a customer request to be able, instead of doing the additional plug here, down here, I guess if you wanted to take a curling iron and leave it plugged in there all the time or something, to be able to not have to, you know, look at this. It is an option to be able to take and do a dual plug, maybe down there somewhere else. We've added them after the fact underneath there. You know, somebody had was super particular and wanted to have like a toothbrush charger mounted somewhere, but not having to run cables and wires. We could easily do that stuff after the fact. Since they pulled out the spray foam, it's a lot easier to be able to run vertically in the walls. Prior to, it was kind of a mess if you ever had spray foam. So great layout. You know, dual fans, that's option. This is an option as well, doing the AC covers. They started that about 2 years ago. I like not having to see the plastic. It reminds me of a travel trailer. The only thing is, you know, Renegade kind of took it to the nth degree and did the stainless. The ultra leather doesn't bother me. If somebody said, hey, you know, that seems too Vegas for me, we could easily take and pull this apart and be able to take and wrap those up, do a piece of wood insert, anything like that. Large picture window there, that's your egress window. You'll have a little pad. So this is just the old school, which I think, like I said, I kind of preference to be able to turn all your lights on and off, turn your generator. Of course, you'll have an app to be able to do that. And I guess if you were really mad at your spouse, you could probably turn the heat on in the summertime from 1,000 miles away. If someone went camping without you, you could make them definitely pay after the fact. So very happy to have another, you know, I haven't been in love with the classic, the smaller classic floor plans. You know, the 45s, I mean, I like them all. I've just never had much dealings with a CME. You know, a lot of the CMEs will have a dinette right here. I kind of think it kind of breaks it up a little bit, but there again, matter of, I'm not going to use the P word. I'm going to say whatever you might want from there as far as whatever seating group in any particular place. You could do it. You could do a televator there. You could do lots of things. So, you know, just know this is a different option for somebody that might want something a little bit different. I like the fact that it's a hydraulic slide as opposed to the Schwintek big kitchen slide. And I think that people are going to like this openness a little bit. You know, if you have the full length cabinet, you go around the corner and see who's sneaking up on you. But I was reminded that I missed the half bath here. About the same as what you would normally get in the CMRs, the corner shower, but newer hardware as well. But nice open airy feel. I'm really happy to, this was, I figured this would be a lot nicer here than in the campground to be able to see out, see all the way out, you know, have nothing that really obstructs your view. But always appreciate you guys checking out the videos. This is available. We do have pictures on our website at pmcrv.com. We're gonna do a test drive. She doesn't know we're gonna do a test drive, but we're doing a test drive today, so you kind of see what it feels like. We do test drive videos periodically. The idea back behind the test drive videos is you can see I'm feeling very, very comfortable. I've been doing it for a long time. I've driven everything underneath the sun. I've been doing it for 20 plus years, but you know, the trucks I feel the most comfortable in, most people feel the same way as well. Check out our website, pmcrv.com. We will try to link the drive along video of this 2025 Renegade Classic 45 CME available at Performance Motorcoaches.